Hello and welcome to Souls Intersect. I decided that since I'm running this special on past life readings for the month of June, that I would put together an example of one of them for you. So my past life readings are normally $55, and for the remainder of the month of June, I'm offering them for $40. I've gotten to do quite a few over the past week, and I'm so excited about it because I really enjoy doing these, and I feel that they're very important. So I'm going to do a little bit more of an introduction and explain why I think they're useful, how I approach them, and then I'm going to start the sample reading, and I'll be speaking to the person who I did the reading for, so you can see what it would be like if I were doing it for you. So the first thing that I want to say is that I do the video instead of an audio recording, but the actual recording is me just recalling information that I accessed in deep meditation. So I do that away from any technology, and I meditate on the person inquiring, their name and birth date, and any questions that they have. So some people come with questions about a certain past life that they remember somewhat, or sometimes they've just met a person who they feel they've had a past life with, or they've gone to a place where they feel they have been in a past life. And for some others, they just know that they have an issue in the current lifetime, something that they deal with, a challenge, emotional, mental, or something along those lines, where they feel or they've been told by other readers that it's something that stems back to a past life. And they ask me to look into it further for them. And some people don't know anything at all about a possible past life. So they just want me to look in general at what's in their highest good to receive. And in that case, I meditate and I receive information about whatever past life is best for them to hear about in the present moment. I do believe that everyone has had several, if not hundreds or thousands of past lives. And I do believe they're really important to know about because of, like what I just mentioned, about certain challenges that have stemmed back over decades or centuries or even millennia, something that they carry with them. And those things often run so deep, they run so much more deeply than anything that's happened to you just in this lifetime. And so being able to understand them and heal them can be very freeing and empowering in the current lifetime. Okay. And so because the recording, as I was saying, is mainly just me recalling the information, I'm not actually doing the meditation or the reading during the recording for these. So that's different from my intuitive tarot readings, of course. I actually pull some tarot cards, and I sometimes pull out other objects or images. And they're just there because they either match the energy of things that I saw in the meditation, or they are actual reminders, and sometimes I'll reference them. But mostly it's about the energies. So I'll pull out things that just best match the energy of what I saw in the meditation. And it's for the purposes of visual for the video, and just also matching the energy that I felt during the meditation as best as possible to bring that to you. Okay. So before I shift gears into actually dictating the reading as I would do in a real reading, I'm going to give you a little bit of context to this friend's situation. And she offered to let me do this, anonymously of course, but she offered to let me share some of her background information, the backstory, and then the information that I received in the meditation about it. So for this friend, she actually has a connection. It's a romantic connection, but not someone that she's currently with. It's someone who the two of them have agreed to not be together for right now. And she feels that she has already had memories of past lives with him. She didn't want me to look at any one lifetime in particular with him. It was more that she felt there was some blocks in certain issues. So just the separation itself, for example, it felt like that was something that stemmed back farther back than just this lifetime. And she's been able to see that be the case with some other issues and certain other lifetimes that she's recalled herself or has done in past life regressions. But she wanted to see what would come to me as her friend, what my guides and her guides would bring to me in one of my meditations to help her with this specific issue, mainly the separation and some other challenges that they've faced between them. Okay, so I'm going to start now the sample reading. Okay, so in my meditation about your past life, I was taken back pretty far for this one. I was actually really surprised. I went into a really deep meditation, and when I came out of it, I was a bit more disoriented than usual and had to do a lot more grounding than usual because of how far back this was. It really feels to me like it was early ancient Egypt, or even somewhat earlier than that. And of course, when I was in it, it felt like it was just the modern day, because that's usually the feeling that I get in these situations. And that's kind of a signal for me, actually. Because if you think about it, when you're living a life, it's just going to feel like now. It's just going to feel like the modern day. And so even though I was that far back, that's still how it felt. And it was really incredible. So it was interesting, too, because the meditation and the images that I saw took place mainly inside of a household. So what I got is that you and him were married in that lifetime. You were a formal couple, and I believe that you were nobility of some kind. And the region is really unclear, which isn't normal for me, but it feels like because it was so far back, I'm not even entirely sure that things looked the way they look now geographically. That's how far back this was. But I did kind of get some feeling of a temperate climate and maybe it being around the Mediterranean somewhere. But again, I did see you two as both being nobility, and you were married. He was a great deal older than you in that lifetime. And it felt like almost 20 years or 25 years older than you. And it was amazing because you were this really powerful couple, and the work that you did together was really effective, and you, in terms of work, really, you just really worked well together. And you did a great job in decision making together, and people really looked up to you, both as leaders and as a couple. And you definitely shared your romantic feelings for each other. And especially earlier on, I feel like things were going really well. And I got the feeling that you were really loved. You were just beloved in this household. And because you were of an elite class, you had a lot of people working in your home, in the kitchen, even like a nursemaid. You had a woman who was really, really close to you. And I feel like it was that same woman who you've been working with on energy healings. It felt like the same soul to me. I feel like you had this connection where she was your caretaker. And it felt like she had been your caretaker for since you were younger. So obviously by this time you were an adult and you were married, and she'd been with you your whole life, and you were very close to each other. And she also was, I don't know if she does this for you now or if she's offered to, but I saw her working with you with herbs a lot, like providing some things for you with essential oils and different plants and flowers and herbs as a medicinal thing. So that's also something that she did and did especially for you. So that was a really nice thing that you shared together, and she was really talented in that. And I saw some other people who were maids of yours working for you that really, just really admired you and really looked up to you. But what was interesting was that what happened is you were ready to start having children, and you wanted a child. You wanted at least one child, and you and he could not conceive together. And it started to be this really traumatic and troubling thing. And it really, really broke him down. There was some suspicion there that it had to do with his age. I'm not really entirely sure. It's possible that he was just sterile in that lifetime. But he could not get you pregnant, and it was just this really heartbreaking thing for the two of you as a couple. And even that, I feel like, was something that you may have been able to overcome just because of how compatible you were and how happy you were together otherwise, and how well you did together, professionally speaking. But what ended up happening is that you wanted a child so badly that you actually took on a lover. And it was interesting because, so this person was much younger, and it was, in some way, it was accepted. It was almost like, because of the way society was at the time, I don't even feel like it was an issue that you were together sexually. It doesn't feel like that was necessarily an issue, but the fact that he impregnated you really came between you and your husband. So it felt like, in some sense, there was openness. There was a little bit of like an open marriage, and it doesn't feel specific to you. It feels like it was part of society, as I was saying. But this person did get you pregnant, and you had a child with this person. And that really changed everything for you guys. It absolutely broke his heart. There's a couple other things too. What was going on was that it wasn't just him seeing this, like seeing that you happily had this child with this other person, and so then had that bond with him and the child that wasn't his, but you, just because of the way your personality was in that lifetime, for some reason, you were almost gloating about it. And you really had, I just got the feeling, I was seeing this in the first person, by the way. I was feeling I was you. So I really picked up on a lot of inner emotions. So sometimes I'm viewing it, but I really felt I was you more, possibly because I know you so well. And so your intention was not to gloat to make others jealous. It's just that something happened to you with this having a child. It changed you. And you did care for this other person, this lover, but it wasn't so much that it made you so happy with him to have the child. It's just that I think biologically the bond and then just some emotions made you feel so bonded to the child and so happy that he was able to give this to you that you just wanted to, you were just overflowing with gratitude and happiness, and you wanted to share that with others. And I really felt that you loved him just as, you loved your husband just as much, if not more, because you were happier and your capacity to love grew. And you loved him just as much, but you felt like this incredible bond, and you just wanted to share it, and you even shared it with your husband. You would just almost talk about it nonstop, about how happy you were and how bonded you felt to this child, and it absolutely broke his heart. So not only did he feel kind of castrated just because he couldn't conceive with you and happened to be sterile, I think, but he also really felt like he couldn't make you happy the way that these other circumstances had made you happy. And he just felt like that you couldn't love him without betraying him. And I'm getting the sense that this is something that reoccurred in other lifetimes together and has a lot to do with his issues of trust in this lifetime. There's just this overall theme of him not believing that you could love him the way that he wants to be loved. And he can't fully trust you because of this. And so that is pretty much what I got. The emotion I felt, the level to which I felt the emotion, was really intense for both of you. I do feel like this is a major theme for you guys and is really a major issue. So I would definitely focus on sending some healing energy around this, and I'll do the same too, and asking for it to be cleared as much as possible. But again, as I always say, just knowing about it can be really helpful, can really unlock something and start to clear those energies anyway. Just bringing it into your consciousness can be really helpful, and I feel that it will be. So I will leave you with that, and thank you so much. And to my Souls Intersect viewers, thank you for watching the sample past life reading. And I will put the link to my website if you want to read more about it or book a reading. Or feel free to email me at soulsintersect@gmail.com if you have any other questions. Thank you.